Donald Trump comes in and swoops in and wins a bunch of young people over, and that is the TikTok ban that's looming. Here's a statement from here's the CEO of TikTok.
Yeah. Let me see if I can go on TikTok right now. I can. So I can still go on TikTok at this very moment for now.
About it. You should understand this is a massive topic for Gen Z, and they are up in arms about this. Here's the TikTok CEO talking about it right now.
As you know, we have been fighting to protect the constitutional right to free speech for the more than 170 million Americans who use our platform every day to connect, create, discover, and achieve their dreams. On behalf of everyone at TikTok and all our users across the country, I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States.
Yep.
This is a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We are grateful and pleased to have the support of a president who truly understands our platform, one who has used TikTok to express his own thoughts and perspectives.
They're trying to get Trump on their side
and generating more than 60 billion views of his content in the process.
So, of course, the big question is whether or not the parent company of TikTok, ByteDance, is willing to sell TikTok to a non-Chinese controlled company. And obviously it's going to be, Congress passed that law, and Donald Trump wants to do something about it. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to just sort of wave a wand and do it. But he made a statement on the SCOTUS ruling confirming that, upholding the congressional law, saying the Supreme Court decision was expected and everybody must respect it. My decision on TikTok will be made in the not too distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. Stay tuned. But as you point out, Rachel, he's made it big on TikTok, so he's eager to try to protect it.
Well, yeah, it's the easiest W for him to do. It's such an easy fucking W. All he has to do is unban it, and then there's going to be a bunch of young people that think that he did it. Yeah, of course he's going to do that.
He wants different outlets to get his opinion out. One of the loudest voices opposing this, of course, are TikTok creators. There's tons of young people who are making a living off of creating content on TikTok, and so they're really upset about it. So are people who enjoy looking at the videos. And we had Jojo Scarlata and Nikki Scarlata. They're two, pretty big influencers on the TikTok platform. And here's what they told me about it.
Americans are going to consume content, whether that be on a different app or not. And RedNote is the #1 app in the App Store today. So it comes down to, if you're talking national security.
RedNote's not going to stay the #1 app. That's the thing, is that the people, all the people moving over to RedNote are just like stupid, communist kids that think that China is like a better version of America, because in America there's people that are racist. That's really what it is. I mean, this is not going to last for more than probably a month, because you're going to see these people that are going to be getting banned. And like, you really think that like, maybe at the beginning they'll be like, oh, it's okay that we're being censored for this or that. But then when you have these people that are like these massive virtue signalers for being trans, that are getting banned for being trans, then being called men in the comment section by Chinese people constantly, and they're not getting banned for that, they're going to leave RedNote. I mean, it's an emotional overreaction. It's kind of like, if you're, you break up with your girlfriend and she gets back with her old boyfriend or another guy that's like abusive, and like, you just feel bad for her because you know what's going to happen. That's what it is. You know this is going to happen. It's a rebound. Yeah, it is. It's a rebound.
If Americans are just going to go onto another app that's, say,
You're coping, bro? I'm coping? Wait, do you guys really think that's not what's going to happen? You're so brainwashed, it's laughable? What am I brainwashed by? Like, no, I'm actually, like, I'm confused. Like, I'm not a China hater. I'm not oh, wow, China's so bad. But what are you talking about? What am I brainwashed by? Oh, hi, chat. Hey. Is there anything like that's going on? Or are you just being dumb? We'll give them one more minute, then we gotta move on. We can't waste too much time on this. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. I thought you were doing a China bad then. I have no issue then. You argue and you misunderstand things too often. I don't want to read your messages anymore. Yeah, you're argumentative and rude. I don't want to deal with it.
Is the Chinese Communist Party app, and they're going to consume and post content on that app. We're going to have the same situation if TikTok get banned tomorrow.
No, they won't. They're not going to keep posting on a Chinese Communist Party controlled app. It's just going to happen for a very limited period of time. When people realize the breadth of things that they can't talk about, they're going to immediately stop using it. This is, again, it is an emotional overreaction that will be immediately corrected once reality sets in.
We're going to have the same situation in a couple of months. Gen Z's saying basically we had enough, we're going to consume content regardless. And I think we should listen to this generation because, it's the future.
If it was something as serious as a national security threat, I believe, it would be handled in a different manner. But the fact that, for example, there's another Chinese app making its way on the App Store the way it is, I believe it's more of a sensory issue than it is a security concern, in my personal opinion.
I agree with him. I do. I think he's right. It doesn't make any sense. Why is TikTok being singled out among all the other Chinese companies that deal in data?
Yeah, they're wrong. I completely this isn't censoring at all. You can go on Instagram, you can go on any of the other apps and see the same 30-second people making fools of themselves and getting a lot of likes. But I'm not being mean about them. Here's the deal. This is where you have to have some intellectual integrity here. We're all really mad at President Biden because the law says you have to enforce the border. And he said, you know what? I don't want to. This law was passed, even if it was slid into a funding bill for Ukraine's war or Russia's war in Ukraine, even if this part is a part of a completely different bill, which is another topic we should separate. It's law. The Supreme Court says it's constitutional. Congress passed it. The executive branch can't just say, hey, we don't want to listen to the law, even if we don't like the law. It goes back to Congress. And it was a bipartisan Congress that passed it because they all love to spend our money.
Well, I think it's because censoring Americans and using...
He is right that you can't just ignore the law. If that is the rules and the president can't go around it, then you have to enforce the rule. Because if you don't enforce rules arbitrarily, everything's up for grabs. You have chaos. You have to follow the rules, even if they're stupid. You change the rules to be less stupid, but in the meantime, you still have to follow them.
National security as an excuse to do it.
We've seen
has some bipartisan appeal in Congress. But this is what Rand Paul had to say. Now, I don't know. This was from a hearing with Kristi Noem. He wasn't necessarily talking about TikTok, but I think this sound from him, this quote from him, I'm going to play it right now, speaks to, I think,
people say people ignore the law without consequence all the time. Okay, do you think that's a good thing? Like, no, you don't. So, like, you're like that's clearly bad. So, like, you're saying that, like, okay, well, because sometimes this bad thing happens, it's okay that this bad thing also happens. Like, it's just
what people are concerned about, that national security is being used by the intel community through our government, through our laws, to control our thought instead of focusing on real threats. Listen.
DHS under the Biden administration has often used its vast powers to target Americans exercising their constitutional rights. It's become an agency more focused on policing speech, monitoring social media, and labeling political dissent as domestic terrorism than addressing genuine security threats.
The annoying
Charlie, is the problem that they can't control, like, the government can control Facebook, can control Instagram, but they can't control TikTok. Is that really what the heart of the problem? Because why focus just on TikTok?
Yeah, it's such a great point. We saw the Biden administration bullying Facebook and other American tech companies into, whether it was on COVID or election stuff, everything. And of course, the American tech companies completely folded and did whatever they wanted to do. And obviously, TikTok is not going to be bullied by the Biden.
They were bullied too. TikTok also upheld the same rules that all of the other websites were upholding. Like, I don't know, like, does nobody remember that? Like, it's not like you could say COVID was fake and all this other stuff on TikTok. You'd get banned for it there too. What are we talking about?
Administration. The one thing, though, that I've always kind of found a little bit annoying about the TikTok debate is if China is spying on the United States through TikTok, which it is, then why don't we also go after China? But it's like it's almost like that monster is so big that that the Biden administration and a lot of Democrats in particular don't want to take on the real fight.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And
I think the fact is that if you're against Chinese apps, that's okay. But you have to be against all of them. Being against TikTok individually just screams out to me that this is something that is a chess move for power. Ryan, that's a good one. I think it is a chess move power play that's being made by Western media companies. That's it. That's the primary focus. It's not about what's best for or for the people or anything like that. It's just about how to make the most money and get the most out of them, right? That's why they want you to use the metaverse. It is. It absolutely is. It's about data collection and the algorithm. TikTok isn't worth 100 billion. It's their algorithm that's worth that much. Well, Chinese algorithms are way more dangerous than kids psychologically than normal American companies, I think. Well, how do you define that? So, like, what's the difference between a Chinese algorithm and an American algorithm? Like, what does that mean to you? If TikTok is so good, then why is it not allowed in China? Because China has extreme speech regulations that limit people's usage of all kinds of different internet resources because they're controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. That's the reason why. Like, I think right now it's a black box and Supreme Court just looked into it. Do you really think that companies like Meta are operating in the best interest of the United States? Because this is the issue that I have. I think that it is outrageous to believe that companies like Meta and Google and even Twitter are operating in the best interest of the United States in a way that China or that TikTok is not. I think it's ridiculous. All of these people are opportunistic and they have no allegiance to any company or any country in general. Why would they? Yeah, why would they? These are international companies and they're also owned by international interests. Wrong, they have Douyin or whatever it's called. The average age there is 40 plus and it made content's educational. Very rarely you see brain rot content. Well, why is it that you very rarely see brain rot content? It's because it is massively regulated by the government. Like, see, like you're almost there, but just keep going. Like, it's like insanely regulated. That's the way everything in China is. It's not true? Wait, so you think that the Chinese government isn't exercising regulation over its social media? I'm sorry, but if you think that's not happening, you're actually retarded. It's not even worth having a conversation.